This is The Therapist's Couch with Virginia Corbett, licensed counselor, where professional insight supports personal growth. Join us for authentic conversations that inspire growth, healing, and hope. Welcome back to The Therapist's Couch. This is the finale of the Calm Code. We have talked about survival mode, boundaries, and grounding, but today we ask the biggest question of all. Who are you when you aren't overwhelmed? Virginia and Anna discuss how to rewrite your family scripts, how to stop playing the role of peacekeeper, and what it truly means to level up your life. Let's begin.
Hi, Anna.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good. Well, today we are here to finish our series on the Calm Code.
I can't believe we're finishing it.
I know it's been fast and wild, hasn't it?
Definitely.
We've gone over some really good things. Well, this is Anna Edwards, and I'm Virginia Corbett, and today we're going to talk about who we are when we're not overwhelmed, what our calm identity looks like, and the kind of the journey to finding that.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely quite the journey, for sure.
It's that life journey that we're all on.
Yes.
So today we're going to talk about kind of that transformation arc, the arc of beginning in that survival mode, which, I guess in this modern world, we get in that survival mode more than we'd all like to admit. Going from survival mode, putting in the boundaries, getting our regulation in our lives with our emotions, with our relationships, and then finally finding the space to know our calm identity, who we really are.
Mm-hmm. So where would you like to start today? Where should we start?
Let's start with that survival mode and the before and what that looks like. And that first glimmer of getting enough space in survival mode to begin to wait, this isn't how I want my life to be. When a client comes into your office in survival mode, what are your thoughts and what is your plan? How do you work with them and help them?
Well, I think first things first is definitely some of the tools that we've talked about and really trying to sit with them and help them in that moment implement some of those things, right? And just kind of establishing some type of emotional regulation. Because I do think in order to get out of long-term survival mode, there's a lot of maybe big changes that need to happen. And so being able to establish emotion regulation through using some of the techniques that we've talked about in the Calm Code, I think that's definitely a good first step.
Mm-hmm. And part of getting out of survival mode is to recognize you're in survival mode. Mm-hmm. Because I think that's the whole main point of being in survival mode. You're just surviving. You're not being intentional. You're not, making plans ahead. You're just putting out brush fires as they come up in life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Minute by minute, for sure.
Minute by minute. And, we've all been there.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to have a day or a month or a year where every minute is trying to catch up, playing catch up, and never getting ahead.
And I think the more that you're in survival mode, I would argue it's that much harder to get out of it, right? The longer you stay in survival mode, the more difficult it is to break some of those cycles.
But isn't it fantastic when you have a client that is ready to break out?
Definitely. And it's kind of, in a way, a little bit exciting to experience and be a part of that journey of just getting to see someone in real time identify, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
And I don't have to.
Yeah. That's my favorite part of being a therapist. I always like to think my job is to come alongside of people while they heal and just kind of witness their journey. And it is so exciting to me when they I'm over this. I'm ready to do this differently.
Yes.
How do I do that?
Yes.
And sometimes that takes a long time of talking through things and learning techniques, but I like to call it leveling up.
Yes, I love that. Leveling up.
And when you level up, and in all fairness, very few people actually do it. A lot of people spend a lot of time bouncing around their level But to actually level up and say, I want to change the way I'm living my life. I want to get out of survival mode, or I want to go to the next level. It's a beautiful thing to watch. And my artists, their art changes. You know, the writers, they might write differently. Like, there are things that physically change about your life when you level up.
Mm-hmm. And it's crazy that when you point that out, right? Just getting to be able to witness that for somebody. It's very cool.
It is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
It is really cool. And it's really fun to see someone becoming their best self and getting closer. It's a journey. It's a journey. It's not like a snap your fingers, you're there.
Right.
But to see someone really making going to a new level on their journey. So some of the things that, as you getting out of survival mode and putting those boundaries in, which we talked about last episode, and starting to regulate your emotions and starting to regulate your calendar. One of the things that you begin to experience is a confidence and a clarity, because all of those other voices that have been so loud in your life, you begin to hear your own voice.
Mm-hmm. How do you, I guess, navigate or help a client get to that point where they have that confidence and that clarity, or they're able to maybe kind of like tune out some of those other voices?
Yeah, because those voices can be really loud.
Definitely.
Everyone can be telling you what to do, and even maybe gaslighting you a little and telling you your voice isn't correct and you don't know what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. And to finally start to have that confidence and clarity, I think that's just encouragement. And, again, as a therapist, I think we're a lot of times cheerleaders, mm-hmm. On the sidelines of people's life. You can do it. You can do it. You got this, and really cheer it. But I think being able to listen to your own voice and start to tune out, other people's opinions and hear what your voice, your heart is telling you. I think that's just a confidence thing. And once you do that, you get more and more confident and you trust that. I mean, it is a lovely thing to witness.
Yeah, I really like that. I think that's it's definitely something I use of like, are you happy with that, right? Do you like that? And it's funny to watch somebody going to like, oh, I don't know, to like, yes, I do. I am happy with this, or I do it like that,
Well, and that's that beautiful time when you can rewrite old scripts.
Yes.
Once you begin to hear your own voice and you begin to be confident in your decisions and not let all the outside influences, make you doubt those decisions. And once you begin to do that, we can start looking at like, what are our roles? What were our roles in our family? And do we want those roles?
That's tough. That is definitely a tough one. That is I think rewriting scripts is awesome, but I also acknowledge like it is hard work.
Yeah. Well, because there's nothing more powerful than a family. Mm-hmm. And if you begin to rewrite your script or rewrite your role in your family, they're all going to push against that.
Yep. And I think to that point, identifying where you were or the role that you did play and identifying what you would like it to look like mm-hmm. is part of the journey, but then actually implementing that and actually doing it and living in the uncomfortability of, oh no, I don't want to sit in this role anymore. Yeah. And that's really, really hard. And it's really hard. All the more reason, right? That's kind of why the steps are in the order that they're in, because you need to have the confidence and the clarity to know.
And the boundaries.
Yep.
Absolutely.
This isn't what I want. This isn't serving me anymore.
So say you're the family peacekeeper, and your job since childhood has been to keep the peace in a family. And, there's maybe it's not a healthy kind of peacekeeper. Maybe there's triangulation, maybe you have somebody who, is emotionally unregulated. Yeah. And you're this person that always steps in, and you're the person that's always going to step in and be the peacekeeper. And you go, you know what? This isn't working in my life as an adult. I'm not going to go back to my family of origin and always step in and be the peacekeeper and always be part of that triangulation. Like, that's a tough decision.
Yeah.
But boy, I've had some clients that once they got out of that role, they went, wow, I didn't know life could be so calm.
Well, I think it's hard too because specifically in that role, I would imagine, there's a lot of things that are being put on your plate that in reality are probably out of your control. And having the confidence and clarity to acknowledge that and identify that, you can't take on all of these things, especially not for long term, right? Like,
Well, you have and you do,
right,
but maybe life could be different if you didn't.
right,
A lot of times there'll be someone with some kind of an addiction or, some kind of emotional irregulation. There's something that's going on that's requiring a lot of your energy. And where do you want to put your energy?
right,
That's the question. Where you only get so much energy in your life. What are you going to do with it?
right. I know we talked about too, like looking at both paths, right? And what that looks like for you. And there's no shade for whatever path that you choose, but I think it's important to fully acknowledge, like I said, what each path fully entails. What does that mean for you emotionally and in terms of the overall family dynamics, as well as your own personal mental health and well-being.
Absolutely.
And exploring those.
Well, and you can choose. So say you look at that and you try to get out of that role and you're like, you know what? I'm going to keep this role. I'm going to go ahead and continue to be the peacekeeper. Yeah, that's fine. That's okay. But just know there's a cost to you. And there's a life that you're not living because you're taking that and the energy you could be doing to something else and doing that. And those are the decisions in your life. We talked earlier, choose your heart. Choose your heart. So there's the rewriting that family scripts. Also, a lot of times people will, there'll be patterns in relationships, and maybe we want to change a pattern and, maybe we're okay with that pattern.
Yeah. So if you had a client where they've started to acknowledge, whether it's in therapy or kind of on their own, that maybe they're not okay with the pattern, where do you take them? Or
Well, where that happens the most commonly is people in like relationships, people, couples, or even people who are married. And they're like, we have been doing this pattern. We've been fighting for 10 years or 20 years or whatever the amount is, even a few years. And we don't want to do it anymore. We have the same fight again and again and again. We want to change this pattern because, and I tell them, I'm like, well, yeah, do you want to have that fight 2,374 more times before you die? Or do you want to change this pattern?
yeah.
Keep fighting over pancakes, but that's not really what you're fighting over, is it?
I like that. I love the way that you phrase things, because I think it's a really great way, kind of to I've done it myself personally, reuse some of these questions as ways to check in with myself of, where am I in my calm?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And what I want that to look like.
Yeah. And that's so beautiful, because I think that's that projection, like in your calm, do you want to have that grounded presence? Do you want to have that, safe? Do you want to have the honest and authentic relationships? How does that look for you? And who can you have that with? And how, are you working to have that? Is that important to you? Maybe it's not important to you.
Mm-hmm. Again, both paths, right? And looking at everything that entails.
So that's kind of exploring the identity of who you are in your calm state, who you are when the outside voices aren't telling you who you should be, and you can like have that calm space to listen to hear your own heart and to know what you want. And it's a beautiful way to look forward to that on your journey as you journey into your calm.
Yes, knowing that that's there.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us on The Therapist's Couch, presented by the Sozo Wellness Institute. We hope today's conversation offered you insight, inspiration, and a sense of connection on your journey toward authentic living. If you found value in this episode, please consider subscribing, leaving a review, or sharing it with someone who might benefit. To continue the conversation and access additional services, follow us on Instagram or TikTok at the.therapists.couch or visit our website at sozowellnessinstitute.com. Until next time, please be well.